Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Ultimate Edition Director's Cut Blu-ray is a very long title, but it's also something that I've wanted to talk about for a very long time because if you're like me, you saw this movie in the theater and was pretty disappointed in it. So when I heard there was going to be an extended cut with 30 minutes of extra footage, I was excited because I thought this movie would get a lot more development to some of the subplots that it included, which I think this movie needed desperately. And yeah, I get that this video is really late because this movie's been out for like 2 weeks on Blu-ray, but before Suicide Squad comes out on Friday, I really want to talk about everything DC that I can on this channel. So let's start with Batman v Superman. So first off, does this director's cut make Batman v Superman a better movie than it already was? Honestly, I would say yes, because this movie fixes a huge problem that I had with the theatrical cut. Most of the 30 minutes of extra footage that was packed into this director's cut is devoted to Clark Kent's investigation of Batman. This is something we didn't really see at all in the movie theater. He wants to know just exactly what this guy's doing and why they call him the Bat Vigilante and such. So I think in this version of the movie, Superman now has more clear motivations as for disliking Batman. He's seeing just how brutal this guy is and how he's just going to town on the criminals in the city. And there's this great scene involving an encounter between Superman and this woman who is friends with a man that Batman just recently put in jail. And she feels really strongly about this because no matter what this guy did, he was a father and a husband. And Batman is acting as the judge, jury, and executioner on this guy. And she doesn't agree with that. And then that rubs off on Superman because now he thinks that the guy should have gotten a court hearing instead of just being taken down by Batman. So that was the thing that I enjoyed the most about this director's cut because they gave Superman more clear motivations for feeling the way he does about Batman, which is something I think this movie desperately needed. Also, a scene that was a little more fleshed out in this cut was the Africa sequence at the beginning involving Lois Lane and Superman and those terrorists and stuff. There wasn't much added to it besides a montage at the end, and it didn't really develop anything, but I just think it made this scene flow better with the rest of the movie. Because I remember sitting in the theater during that scene, and when it faded to black and got to this courtroom scene, I was just like, what? And I'm glad they did a little to fix that in this cut. Also, remember that total WTF moment where Clark Kent was on the top of a mountain and he's just talking to this flashback of his dad? Thank God they fixed that in this movie. They didn't really do that much to it. It's just a little clip of Clark Kent walking up the mountain and he's meeting a few people as he walks up. It just made a lot more sense than him being on the top of a freaking mountain talking to his dad out of nowhere. So after watching this director's cut, those are the scenes that really stood out to me and actually left an impression in my brain. But there is something about this cut that I really was disappointed in. It's rated R, and really it doesn't have any right to be. Every added instance of blood or violence that was in this movie that they put in really just came off as gratuitous, like it didn't need to be there. Like during the Africa sequence, they add a lot of blood effects and gore and stuff, and it just really did not need to be there. So those are my thoughts on the extended scenes and the R rating of this director's cut. And like I said at the beginning of this review, I think this is a better way to watch Batman v Superman because it fixes a huge problem I had with Superman's motivations. But other than that, this still really feels like Batman v Superman, and it still includes a lot of the problems it had when it was in the theater. It still crams way too much into one movie. The nightmare sequence still doesn't make sense, along with the Flashpoint Paradox thing. Doomsday still makes this movie have a really stupid turn-off-your-brain third act. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor is still Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. Lois Lane is still annoying and the movie still struggles to make her relevant during the third act. The fight is still amazingly cool to watch and the action is very well directed, but the setup for that scene is handled terribly. The way these guys become friends is still the Martha thing and it's pretty dumb. Superman dying at the end but then coming back to life is still something we've seen in like every movie ever. And it's pretty dumb too. And the way the Justice League was set up in this movie is still through the use of a frickin' email. In the end, if you didn't like Batman v Superman when it was in the theater, then this version of the movie is not really gonna change your mind, but I think it will make you like it a little bit more than the theatrical cut. The extended scenes dealing with Clark Kent, I think, is where this movie shines, and this movie also flows a lot better than the theatrical cut. So guys, those are my thoughts on the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition. Have you seen this version of the movie? Do you think it improves the film or makes it worse than it already was? Definitely let me know in the comments below, and like I said, I'm going to be doing a lot of DC stuff on this channel. I'll be doing trailer reviews of Justice League and Wonder Woman. Those will be up very soon, and stay tuned this weekend for my Suicide Squad review. All those things will be up very soon. Until next time, be sure to like this video and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I'm Fletch. You can follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.